to our Medicare 101 workshop for 2026. This video is so important so that you understand all of the premiums, deductibles, co-insurance, and everything that goes into original Medicare. And that way you also get to understand your plan options: Medicare Supplement, Medigap, Medicare Advantage, Part C, Part D, prescription drug coverage. All of these terms get thrown around, and today I'm going to help you understand how all of that fits together so that you can make a proper plan selection. So at Medicare Pro, we have a 4-step process, and it definitely starts with education. And we spell out the word ease because our motto is we want to help you, we want to help put you at ease. And so we help educate you. That's so important. Analyze your needs because everybody's different. We help you select a plan and get you enrolled. So you can call Medicare Pro after this video and we can assist you. Otherwise, you can just get free information right here. But we start with education, so important. So I'm going to talk about many things, as I said: eligibility, original Medicare, supplement versus advantage, enrollment periods, all of that. So you're going to have questions probably as I go through this, but by the end of the video, I believe you're going to be clear on many things. The first thing is eligibility. There's 2 ways to get Medicare: by turning 65 years old or by qualifying under disability. There's many people under the age of 65 that qualify for Medicare based on their disability. And usually you enroll through Medicare, through the Social Security Administration, 3 months before your eligibility date. The website to do that is www.ssa.gov. Some of you will actually get Medicare automatically. If you're already taking Social Security, that usually means that 3 months before your 65th birthday, you're going to get that red, white, and blue card in the mail, and it will be ready to go upon your effective date. Otherwise, if you're not already enrolled in Social Security, you got to hit that website, the Social Security website, to sign up. If you have any other questions, just drop them below in the comments. Here's the original Medicare card. It looks like this, and everybody gets Part A as an entitlement, which means people earn Part A by working 40 quarters. Quarters means there's 4 quarters in a year. So if you work 40 quarters, it means you've worked 10 years, and you get Part A for 0 monthly premium. We'll get to more of that in a second. For Part B, it's a little bit different. It's your medical insurance as opposed to Part A, your hospital insurance. And so these 2 work independently of one another. Let's talk about what the costs are. So as I mentioned, Part A, hospital coverage, is a 0 monthly premium because you earn it. If you haven't worked your 40 quarters, well, Part A may have a different premium, but most people will pay 0 premium for their Part A. If you go to the hospital with just that Medicare card, you're going to have a $1,736 deductible. And so that's per admission, and that covers you for the first 60 days in the hospital. After day 60, you're going to pay $434 per day, days 61 through 90. And then after day 90, if you're in the hospital that long, you're going to see that after day 90, the copay goes up to $868 per day, and you only get 60 lifetime reserve days. So when you use them, you lose them, and that's all you get. And so we're going to talk about how to cover those things in just a few minutes. Part B, on your medical insurance through Medicare, it's a $202.90 premium for 2026. This was just announced upon the recording of this video, and that is what we call the standard monthly premium. Now, I will say there are people who will pay less than that. So people who have Medicare and Medicaid, or they qualify based on their income for a Medicare savings program, they may actually pay $0 for their Part B. As you can see, they're not paying the $202.90 because their state and the government subsidizes that number to make it 0. But it also goes the opposite way. So as you know, some people based on their income pay less. Some people based on their income pay a whole lot more. And there's brackets of, income related monthly adjustment amounts. We call that IRMA. So we'll actually talk about that at the end of the video. What is IRMA? You can search it, IRMAA, for 2026 and see if your income brackets will cause you to have a higher premium. But all things being equal, that is the standard premium, $202.90. Now, if you go to see the doctor let's say in January, your first doctor's visit, you're going to have a $283 deductible. And once you pay that deductible, you don't have to pay it again for the rest of the year. But what you do have to pay is your coinsurance. So Medicare covers 80% of your claims, and you are responsible for 20% of your claims after you've hit your deductible. And so that's why people look at supplement versus advantage. And these are the two main categories of plan options. So Medicare supplement is also called Medigap, right? And Medicare Advantage is also called Part C. And I always say, it's the same thing. These terms are also known as, it kind of confuses people because these things mean the same thing. And it's kind of like some people call me Randall and some people call me Randy, but I'm the same person. And so that's how it is, tomato, tomato. Option one, let's talk about Medicare supplement. Medicare supplement insurance is a secondary insurance. And so maybe you have a card. Let me see if I can find a card here. Let's say you have your Medicare card. Let's say this is your Medicare card. You would actually have a second card that goes right behind it. And that second card is your secondary. So Medicare is your primary. Then you'd have a secondary for your Medicare. That is what a supplement is. If you do it this way, there's no network and no referrals. And so you can go to a specialist without needing a referral from your primary care doctor. And with a Medicare supplement, it's not an HMO or a PPO, it's just Medicare with the secondary. And so to get on a Medicare supplement, it's important that you understand what an OEP is. You see that on number 3. That stands for open enrollment period. When you turn 65, you have a 6-month window to choose a supplement with no underwriting. If you're past that 6-month window, let's say you're age 66 and beyond, usually that window has passed, and now you have to go through health underwriting to get a supplement. So the idea is, if you're considering a Medicare supplement or Medigap, you want to try to get in at the beginning. That way you don't have to answer health questions. After you've missed that 6-month window, the unfortunate part is the Medicare supplement companies may deny you based on your health conditions, and you'll be out of luck unless you have a guaranteed issue or some qualifying special event that will allow you to get the supplement. Number 4 there on the left, the premiums for Medicare supplements are based on your age and zip code, and also gender, mainly age and zip code. So a 65-year-old will pay less than a 75-year-old. The other thing to note is that you do not lock in your rate. Every year that you get older, you usually get a monthly premium increase, which we'll discuss in a second on how much that would be. The last thing is that Part D is sold separately. So in my example earlier, if you have Medicare as your primary, here's my insurance card, you have a supplement as secondary, then you'd have a third card, which is your drug coverage. And so you'd carry around 3 insurance cards, and that's how you're covered. Medicare is primary, the supplement is secondary, and you'd have your prescription drug coverage. Now, keep in mind that this does not include dental, vision, hearing, or other things like that. So you want to, really understand that this is truly Medicare, a supplement, and a drug plan. No extra benefits are included here. On the other side, you have Medicare Advantage. And so this is very different. This combines your A, B, and D together, because Part C, I like to say Part C stands for combines, but that's not exactly true. It just helps me remember. It combines your A and your B from your original Medicare card. It helps combine your D coverage, and it's all in one card. So now everything gets combined, and you just carry around one insurance card, and it does everything that you need it to do. And if you do that, you're basically going into a network. So there's HMO networks and PPO networks. HMO means that you need a referral from your primary care doctor to see a specialist. PPO means you don't need referrals and you can go in or out of network with some flexibility. We'll talk about that also in a few more minutes. If you do Medicare Advantage, most plans in most areas have a 0 monthly premium. I say most because there are areas in the US where there are monthly premiums and they're a bit higher. But in most situations, most Medicare Advantage HMOs and PPOs have 0 monthly premiums. So you only pay the $202.90 and you don't pay an extra premium. All right. The fourth thing here is that these plans include extra benefits like dental, vision, hearing, gym, over the counter. Many times the Medicare Advantage plans load up all the benefits so that you can get the most out of your plan. And so that is definitely a perk to consider. 0 monthly premium, all the benefits. Of course, there's pros and cons with both sides, but both sides sound attractive for different ways. Number 5 is they do include financial protection. So I often hear, Medicare Advantage doesn't cover anything, or what if something happens, if something catastrophic happens and you're out of luck? I'd say that's not true because there's an annual out-of-pocket maximum with Medicare Advantage plans. Now, I hear what people are saying. If something catastrophic happened, you may pay more on a Medicare Advantage plan, but that doesn't mean that you're out of luck, and it doesn't mean that you're not protected. It's just math, right? On both sides, you'll actually see that people will have a difference of opinion. And so everybody's going to have a different opinion on both sides. Why is that? Well, that's because on a Medicare supplement, you're not only paying the $202.90 premium above, but you're also paying a supplement premium, which, ballparking it for a 65-year-old, it's going to be about $140 a month. This is not a quote, it's a ballpark. And so just kind of add the math up and you'll probably get a good general idea of what this would cost. Plus, you're adding a drug plan, and those drug plans, depending on what prescriptions you're taking, they might be anywhere from $0 a month up to $80, and actually it goes over $100 a month for some drug plans. And so, but most of the time we can find something within this range. So if I were to ballpark you a Medicare plus a supplement plus a drug plan for a 65-year-old, you're looking at in the range of $350 a month. If you add dental and vision, you're closer to $400 a month for an individual. So it does get expensive, but the benefit there is if you pay those premiums, you have really, really solid, good coverage that will basically pay almost all of your out-of-pocket expenses, especially if you do what I suggested here. I base this on a Plan G, and a Plan G right now is the most popular and what we would consider the highest comprehensive coverage at this time for a 65-year-old. So that's something to consider. Let's look at the other side, Medicare Advantage, HMOs and PPOs. HMOs, like I said earlier, they need referrals. So you choose your primary care doctor and they refer you to specialists. If you do this, there's lower copays. There's more extras. What I mean by that is more dental, more vision, more hearing. Most people will enroll with the HMO Medicare Advantage plan for benefits, okay? And, these HMOs, they include a Part D at no extra cost. Most of them do. They include a lot of dental, a lot of vision, lower copays, and that's in comparison to a PPO. PPO is better in the sense that it's more flexible, but it's not better in the sense that you're going to pay higher copays and you're usually not going to get as much dental or vision. So most people will consider, like I get this question all the time. People are like, isn't PPO better? And I say, well, what do you mean by better? Is it more flexible? Yes. Does it cost more? Yes. So which one is better to you is the question. Some people say better is flexibility. I don't want referrals and I'll pay more for it. That's better to me. And then some people say, no. My plan has more dental and more vision and lower copays. That's better for me. And so better is an opinion. I have clients who are happy with actually all of the options that I'm showing you on my screen happy with their HMO. Why? Because of the benefits. You see that bolded right there. They're happy because they're getting the benefits. They'll deal with the referrals. Other people are happy because of their freedom. They can go where they want to go with no strings attached. Some people think better is on the Medicare supplement side on the left, because better to them is I'm going to pay a higher premium and that way I can limit my out-of-pocket expenses later. Okay, what is better to you? Just because your neighbor says their option is better doesn't mean that it fits you. That's why I highly suggest getting with a Medicare Pro agent to go over all of the pros and the cons in greater detail. This is very general, but I think it will give you a good idea in which categories you should start researching. And so let's move on from here so we can get a greater understanding. There's enrollment periods for both sides. So enrollment periods would be like for a Medicare supplement. We talked about this, the Medicare supplement open enrollment period. It's the first 6 months after the Medicare effective date. So if you're turning 65 in January of 2026, you basically have until the end of June to choose your supplement with no health underwriting questions. So that's a great time to do it. Outside of that period, it's health underwriting. You're going to have to answer 30, 40, 50 health questions. Guaranteed issue periods are important to understand. So this usually applies in situations where maybe your coverage was dropped, you're retiring and losing coverage from work, or a number of other situations. Guaranteed issue periods are basically special circumstances where you cannot be denied coverage, and sometimes the rules are different based on the carrier. If you don't fall into the first two categories, as I said, you need to go through the health underwriting. And here's an important note at the bottom. Medicare supplements have no annual enrollment periods. So somebody, let's say they enroll in a supplement, it never fails. I get calls and they say, I need to shop out my supplement. And can we do that? Sure, we can. But the problem is there is no annual enrollment for supplements. Like what they're saying is, if I'm going to shop out my supplement, that they're going to go through medical underwriting every year to try to find the best rate. Usually what happens is people keep their supplement because they're already in it. They don't have to answer to anybody anymore. They get to keep their plan with no issues. So supplements usually auto-renew month by month, but you can actually switch your supplement at any time of the year as long as you have your T's crossed and your I's dotted, and you don't have a gap in coverage and you meet with an agent. You can do that year round. Also, for people who are turning 65 after 1/1/2020, that was a few years ago, Plan C and F is not available. So those plans, they've been discontinued for people who turn 65 after that date, okay? So that's important to understand with Medicare supplements. Here's some other ones for Medicare Advantage. Enrollment periods. You have an initial enrollment period, which is 7 months long. So it includes your 65th birthday, and it's 3 months before, the month of, and 3 months after. So if you're turning 65 in April, think about it. If April 2026 you're turning 65, you have January through March, that's your first 3 months, the month of April, the 3 months after that, to do a Medicare Advantage plan. So that's called your initial enrollment period. The annual enrollment period is where you get all the advertising, TV, radio, ads, mail, calls. October 15th through December 7th is that time period where you are going to be solicited like crazy. And so, but during this time, you want to make sure you make the best decision. Your plans usually will auto-renew unless your carrier's like terminating or something like that. Most plans will auto-renew. Otherwise, you can shop out your coverage if you're not happy and make a plan switch. All right. The next enrollment period is the open enrollment period. People don't realize that January 1st through March 31st, anyone who has a Medicare Advantage plan can actually change their Medicare Advantage plan. And so that is a huge deal because people are fearful of making a mistake in the fall, but they don't realize they have the first 3 months of the year to correct any mistake that they made. So that's important to understand. Last but not least, there are special enrollment periods with Medicare Advantage plans. So people who are retiring, losing coverage, move out of the area, maybe they qualify for extra help, Medicaid, maybe they've been diagnosed with a qualifying chronic health condition. There's a 5-star plan in the area. There's so many special enrollment periods. These are just a few popular ones. So what I'm saying is, if you have a special circumstance, you can change your plan in July, in April. You can change your plan in August. You know, it's basically year round if you qualify for one of these special enrollment periods. All right. So the next thing that we do at Medicare Pro, and we can help you do that, but I'd highly recommend if you do it yourself, we can double check your work. We analyze your doctors. What doctors are you taking? Give us a list, or write your list out, right? We want to make sure that if you choose a plan, all of them are covered. We want to analyze your prescriptions. What's the name, the dosage, the quantity? Are you searching the Medicare website the right way to find which plan suits you the best? We help qualify people for savings programs, Medicaid. And so people qualify for different things. So we ask the question, what is your income? Okay. You might qualify for some savings. And so here's some limits, QMB, that's Medicaid. Here are the single and couple income and assets here for your knowledge. There's also something called SLMB, which is a level of Medicaid. It's called partial. We have QI1, and we also have LIS. I do separate videos on this to describe them in detail. If you are under any of these amounts on the screen, really this is the bigger one. If you're under $19.56 as a single person or $26.43 as a couple per month, this is monthly income, please call us. We'd like to give you instructions on how to qualify for these programs. We can definitely assist you. Leave a comment below, and we'd love to get back with you. If you want to do it yourself, there's a few different programs out there with yourtexasbenefits.com, because I'm in the state of Texas, Social Security websites, and other programs. We also look at conditions, because if you have any chronic conditions, there might be a special needs plan for you. Special needs plans are not in every area, but what I will say is these conditions will usually qualify you for some sort of special needs plan. A lot of times they give you more benefits. So after that, we filter all your doctor's prescriptions, conditions, subsidies, savings, all that. Then we narrow down the options and help you select, well, which one fits all of those situations. And that's where we kind of just look at everything here and we make an enrollment decision. And so if you have any questions, please put them below. We'd love to answer the comments here. Any question. It could be about retirement. It could be about TRICARE for life. It could be about Medicaid. It could be about teachers' retirement. It could be whatever your mind can come up with. Many people have questions on healthy food and grocery benefits that they see on TV. Is that legit? Other people have questions on, I heard on TV that they can pay me money back into my Social Security check. What is that about? All of those things are true and they're out there, but sometimes there's consequences when you make those selections. We want to make sure that if you go for one of those programs, that you understand the pros and the cons, that you understand the true and accurate information out there. Unfortunately, some of the give back plans that you hear about, well, now your copay is just quadrupled, right? You took the money back, now all your out-of-pocket expenses went way up. Sometimes that's the kind of thing that we want you to avoid. We want to make sure that you're covering all your bases. And so I hope that if you have any questions, you can definitely leave them below. If you're ready to enroll, call us. We usually need a Medicare card and a form of ID. Let me know how I did. Scale 1 to 10. Comment below. Scale 1 to 10. How did I do on this Medicare 101 workshop? We're all taking new clients at Medicare Pro. And so you can definitely leave us a review. Medicare Pro on Google. How is this workshop? Of course, I think really when we help you, that's when you'll leave the review. But I hope this information was helpful for you today. So that is it for the Medicare 101. I'm happy to help you, to serve you. Give us a call, and the number is right below. we would love to help you. You can also email us at info@medicarepro.online. That is info@medicarepro.online. You can call us. You can also go to our website at www.medicarepro.online. You can even schedule a virtual or in-person appointment directly from our website. We'd love to help you. But either way, I hope this information was helpful. Thank you.